What is up, Perfectly Average Golfers? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are taking a look, finally, after it had been requested by so many of you guys for the last handful of years, at what is in my golf bag for the 2025 season. So come on with me, let's take a look at the bag, the clubs, the ball, and where our distances are for the 2025 year. Perfectly Average Golfers, welcome back. I'm Alan with you guys. I know a handful of you guys have been asking me, Alan, can you please do what's in the bag? What are your yardages? What are you hitting? What does everything look like in the game? Sorry it's taken me so long. It honestly has just been a byproduct of I just haven't made the time to go to a sim spot. Today, we're gonna be taking a look at the bag itself, what clubs I'm hitting, all the way through from driver down to putter, and then we'll be looking at the breakdown of our yardages and all the other numbers that come with it. So we're finally doing it, and let's get things kicked off. First and foremost, we gotta give love to the bag. This last December, I upgraded into the Vessel Player 5 Pro stand 14-way divider in pebbled white, and wow, I absolutely love it. And you know, we had to go the extra distance to make sure that the logo gets embroidered on the bag. Love the magnetic pouches, love everything about this bag, would not change it for anything. So let's start to fill it out with our wedges. The title is Vokey SM8s, a couple years old. We're playing the 50 degree, 54, and 58 for my gapping. And then we head into the irons, 4-iron to pitching wedge, playing the TaylorMade P7 MCs, Blade Boys. That's what we're hitting there. And then of course our woods, we're actually hitting a 7-wood, which has become super popular on tour at 21 degrees. And then what essentially is about a 4-wood. It's a 3 hybrid lie with a 16.5. And then in the bag for driver, the TaylorMade Stealth 2 Ryder Cup Edition. 9 degrees worth of loft. We're playing extra stiff shafts throughout the entirety of the bag, but this one is the Ventus Blue 6X in particular. And then to finish things off, we're playing the TaylorMade TP5Xs this year. Last couple years I've been playing Titleist Pro V1Xs, but I wanted to give something different a try. All right, so that's a little bit of a breakdown on what exactly is in the bag. Now let's go take it to Tempo Golf. We've got one in Indian Trail and in Huntersville. 4 bays, the one in Huntersville with the Unicore system over the top. Lots of great information. You can play virtual golf course stuff, but we're gonna hit the range, take a look at our yardages, take a look at our numbers. Let's get it going at Tempo Golf in Huntersville. Let's kick things off. 58 degree start. All your numbers are both left and right side here. Hit about 3-4 shots per club. Take a look at the dispersion, the grouping, all the numbers, stuff like that for you guys. Let's get going. Man, so there's 4 shots. That first one wasn't all that particularly great, but one of the things that we're going to be kind of listing is just the overall totals, the carry distance rather than the total distance. Some of the rollouts on these sims can get a little bit out of control, so call it about a 100-yard club right there. So we usually play on the course. Everything looks pretty solid across the board. The grouping was also, I mean, outside of that first one, it was pretty darn good, right around that kind of the 100-yard marker. So like that, going to the 54. Okay, so here's the 4 shots for the 54. Again, that first one was not particularly great, but yeah, we're looking for about 115 yards. That's pretty much what we're pulling on that shot. Spin rate's pretty much consistent across the board. A little bit pulled on all those shots, but we take that overall in terms of consistency and numbers overall, and you see the averages down at the bottom, so yeah, 115 is where we're sitting at. We like that. Total and carry was the same for that, so again, we're just going to go off what the carry number is, just because again, these zooms can have to roll. And again, the grouping, still pretty solid. A little bit left on some of those shots, but overall, we take that. Not bad at all. On to the 50 degree. we're looking for about 130 yards or so out of the 50 degree. Didn't hit it particularly great, so that second shot was one of the more flush ones. Got it to 130. Everything else sitting low 120s, so that gapping maybe not as good as we would have liked, but not hitting it perfectly great, not terrible. And again, that average thing around like 124 or so not too far off from where we expect to be. Not bad overall. Move on to the 9-iron, back into these P7 MCs. Said 9-iron, I mean P-wedge. Okay, one of those is a little thin, that second one was a little thin, everything else was pretty darn good. So again, we're looking for about 140 to 145 is kind of where my usual distances sometimes feel like. Had an average of 139 total, 136 carry. So these numbers are actually a little bit more accurate than maybe I was expecting. We'll see what happens when we get into the lower irons. I think that's going to provide more rollout than you normally would think. So not bad overall there in terms of what our numbers are. Again, pretty consistent. We had the one that went way left overall, but for the most part, everything else was pretty darn good. This was that miss hit that didn't get the smash factor up. So pretty consistent over across the board. Grouping as well, just kind of looking at it. And there's that one left, but hitting the ball pretty well. A little left on a couple of these, but we take what we're seeing right now. Let's go ahead and move on now for real to the 9-iron.
That's been my problem.
It's been for a 7-iron. I think, like, launch-wise on there, it looks good. I just don't know what that number's supposed to be.
Okay.
Okay, a little squirrely. Yeah, this that one that kind of went a little bit further left. I was trying to overcompensate for. We ended up getting a couple of pushes, but we're looking for about 150 yards out of the 9-iron. That's pretty much what we're getting. Again, a couple of the carry numbers were a little bit on the lower side. Again, you can kind of see the side angles here, right, left, left. So a little all over the place. Smash factor pretty good across the board. The one we really hit well, obviously we get the best carry and the best total out of it. But for an average hitting about 150, 152, we absolutely love that. The grouping, again, is not going to look particularly great. Yeah, that's the first one we've had that's been a little squirrely. That's going to happen as we get a little bit higher up into the club selection, stuff like that. So moving on, here comes 8-iron. Fiddling a little bit with that last shot again. It's just trying to hit something that was not quite as push fadey. So you kind of see, again, that first shot was pretty solid overall. We're looking for about 165. This is where we're going to start looking just at the carry numbers overall, because I'm not going to get this much rollout, I think, on a lot of these shots in normal conditions on an actual golf course. So again, smash factor pretty good across the board. That last one, again, we just kind of tried to overcorrect, so 22 left, not exactly what we want. But again, that average sitting around that 168 number. If you take that one away, that's going to move things down a little bit. So good stuff overall. Grouping, again, going to be a little bit wide with that one that went a little bit too far left there at the end. But for the most part, we take it. Hitting the ball pretty solid. 7-iron coming up. Okay, this is where, again, we're just going to look just at carry numbers, not looking at totals. We should be looking for about 175. Wow, we actually hit some of these really, really well. We did have one really, really bad one that went really far left, but outside of that, everything else is right around that 180 mark, which is more than I would expect. That 189 one I'm not really considering, though, in terms of throwing that one out. I don't know how to do it on this machine, but kind of throwing that one out. If we look across the numbers, it's really high 170s, which we like. And again, outside of that one shot, smash factor pretty solid for the most part. Ball speed pretty much consistent across the board. And the grouping, if you take that far left one out of the play, not terrible. Starting to really get more draw, though. You can definitely tell. Like, we had really good dispersion for all of our wedges, and then as we started to get the P wedge, 9 iron, 8 iron, 7 iron, you can see that the dispersion between trying to hit those little soft fades versus sometimes getting the club face too closed, really starting to pull these pretty far left, and that's the power of the blade. It's going to make the ball extra spinny. All right, here we go. This is going to be our most interesting part, the 6 iron. It's just, as we get 6, 5, and 4, things start to get a little bit weird. So here we go, see what we get. All right, we're gonna blaze through this a little bit because we're starting to run out of time on the sim here. Looking for about 190 on the 6 iron. Good around that, total distance, 185, 190 be good. So 180 for the overall carry, closer to 190 if it does consider the total. So taking that in there, and dispersion gonna start to get a little bit wild. We did have one miss hit that we took off, so throw it into this ballpark, not terrible. Let's go 5 iron. Okay, 5 iron, we're hoping for about 200 yards and hitting just the 3 shots. We got that number overall in terms of total distance. We did hit one that kind of faded out a little bit too much, but really not bad in terms of those 3 shots. Again, you kind of take away this one in the yellow. We are putting about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 yards worth of left to right total. So not bad. Here we go, 4 iron. Let's see what we get. Okay, 4 irons, we're looking for about 215 yards. We caught one with a little bit too much fade, but I like the shot shape we're hitting with that. It's a little purely fade off the right. Really like that a lot. So 215 is the average. Again, we're not really looking at the total distances. If 215 is what we're playing for, that's what we're getting. Again, the grouping, not bad. Again, maybe 15 yards or so worth of left to right. So take that, and now we go on to the woods. Again, these are the stealths. Playing 7 and a 3 wood. Okay, 7 wood, we're hoping for about 240, 245 yards. Shot dispersion was a little bit more wild than I'd like. We're trying to figure out those woods, though. I would like to hit that kind of first shot, that little small fade, but we often kind of overswing and kind of get the toe to the ball too fast, and it often draws a little bit too much, but overall, not terrible in terms of, again, where our average is 240. Yeah, maybe moving it a little bit to the left, but not terrible. Again, there's this one that's out there that's going to really kind of figure that dispersion because we overdrew it a little bit with that kind of big toe pull. So not bad overall. Here comes the 3-wood. All right, so 3-wood, we're looking for about 260 yards is what I've been kind of figuring in when I play. And that's what we got, 260 yards. Again, roll out, I'm not going to really look at that too much. We did have one that just overfaded that first shot. It's a little bit too far open, so everything else was pretty darn tight, pretty darn solid. I like to see that little tight draw there. Let's hit the big stick, Stealth 2. Driver. Let's go. Okay, so we actually didn't record the first like 5 shots. Thought I was recording, I wasn't. Kind of tried to push through that because we're running out of our time. But we're looking for about 280 to 290 in terms of total, and that's what we pretty much pulled. Obviously, the dispersion left to right was not great there at the end. Kind of hitting a little bit too quick, a little bit too wild, but seeing the ball draw is awesome, especially considering that I usually set up a little bit right of target when I'm on the course. So we take that overall, not bad, not terrible. Spin rate, let's take a look. Ball speed. Right around the 160 mark. Be nicer to see they go a little bit higher, but you know, we're not really at that point, so not bad. All right there, friends, that will do it in terms of what is in the bag for the 2025 season. Again, we've played this bag now for the last 2.5 years, and I will say, just kind of looking at it, I kind of mentioned it a little bit talking about the higher irons. The blades just provide a super spinny experience, and it's cool when you're able to utilize that to kind of hit a shot shape that you really want to, but as you started to see, as we got higher up in the numbers, the dispersion starts to grow quite a bit, so ball striking has to be really, really good. And I would say, if I were to go back and get fit again, I would probably not go into blades. I would do something a little bit more player forgiving. Maybe I'll lose a couple of yards, maybe lose some shot shaping creation opportunities, but not worth it to have balls go left, right, and center. So if I would go get fit again, I would maybe go to something like the P770s or something of the nature, maybe even go to the Titleist irons, just trying to find something a little bit more, you know, dead on, a little bit more dead straight. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think down below of the bag, any other questions you might have. We'll catch you guys right back here at Perfectly Average Golf for the next round, whether you're trying to pick 100, 90, or 80. Make sure you stay perfectly average. Bye-bye.